Wolf. I'm a life coach, and I'm having these conversations in order to inspire others to live their most authentic life. I had a really powerful conversation with one of my dear friends and Dr. Dawn Desylvia, about her story and how she got to where she is today. So let's talk to Dr. Desylvia. So I'm so excited to be talking with you today about this conversation that I think is so important. Can you share with us about how you started to hear that call or that inner yearning within yourself about leaving the paved path that you were traveling and that model that you were in and breaking out of that?
Yeah, well, but even before I went into medical school, I knew that I wanted to be part of bringing about a better type of medicine. So this was always something that I knew, but I thought it was going to be much easier.
Yeah. Didn't we all?
I didn't really understand how hard it would be to actually leave the beaten path. And so when I did my residency at UCLA, I ended up taking a faculty position there where we met at UCLA Malibu, and I had a great experience and foundation in Western medicine. But it was the life was being sucked out of me because I was only able to treat symptoms. I had 15 minutes to see a patient, and there's no way to really know what's going on with somebody in 15 minutes. You're just managing symptoms, and I knew that this wasn't what people needed to really heal, and I knew that healing was possible. I had my own personal experience when I was 18 years old. I was in a water skiing accident, and I went flying around the corner, and my body literally skipped like a rock on the water, and I could not get out of bed the next day. I thought I had broken bone. I mean, I literally could barely move, and I went to my doctor, and he said, "Well, you've got no broken bones, but you're gonna have back pain for the rest of your life." And I was like, who tells an 18-year-old that they're going to have a life sentence of pain? Like how? And at the time, my uncle was studying to be an acupuncturist, and he gave me some treatments. And within a week, I was walking, and I never had any residual back pain. So I knew that what is possible in healing and what people are being told in Western medicine. And I will mention that this has gone on to be proven for cancer and autoimmune. There is so much possibility, infinite possibility in us to heal. And we just need the right ingredients. And so I always knew this. And so there I was working at UCLA in Malibu. And I knew that I had to leave. And I started looking for positions. And I had an offer to be a medical director of someone wanted to create an integrative wellness. And so I had gotten all my paperwork ready, and I was going to give my notice and was set. I was like, I cannot do this anymore. And the day before I was planned to give my notice, the person said they encountered financial difficulties. They could no longer open the center. I was out of a job.
Wow.
And I had a decision to make. Do I stay in this position that I is not sustainable for my health or my spirit? Or do I take the leap with a huge student loan debt and no savings and no business skills? But I knew that I had to do it. I gave my notice, and it was just one of the most beautiful examples of when you take a leap that is right for you, the ground rises to meet you. I mean, I cannot tell you just how many events happened that were just miracles. There was one where I had just enough to get by a couple of months, and my plan was to set up office in an acupuncturist office, and I would just give them a percentage because I couldn't afford rent. It took a little bit longer to get everything set up to run my own practice, and I had to learn how to do all my own blood draws and process the labs. And I would literally drive across town to the FedEx station after my day at work to drop off the blood samples to get them shipped to the labs. And so there was a month where I had run out of money, and I came home one day. There was a check in the mail for $12,000 from There was some class action suit up against a loan company for student loans. It was like a government thing where they overfinanced people. And it was such a sign that I was on the right path and I had done the right thing. And, that's one of the things that I really do want to impart to people is that, you know, there are signs everywhere. Not only that if you're supposed to take the leap, but once you take the leap to stay on the path. And one of the things that happens is the path can be so hard that we forget to look up and we forget to see the signs that are there encouraging us to keep going.
That's really important. And I think what you're saying in order to take the leap is what I see so often with my clients. There's always risk involved in order to take that leap. The risk is the scariest part. And really taking it with, usually there's no parachute to speak of that you can see. You can't see it. So you really do have to take a blind leap. And I think what you're saying, I've also seen that you do get met by the universe and by all the things, the support that you need. And that it's almost like magic starts to unfold and you didn't know what would happen. You did it hoping it would, but it does. And it really meets you where you need to be met.
And the magic isn't always pleasant. The magic can be a catastrophe. And it's having that faith that what is happening is exactly what you need to either redirect or learn that lesson so that you can get to the next stage of your journey. My path was, like I said, it was much harder than I ever thought. And I had questioned so many times, did I do the right thing? And, at each moment, it's like once you start on the path, going back just wasn't a viable alternative. I would try at times in different ways, but that always led to more suffering. And so then I had to figure out what would sustain me on the path and what would help me fight this doubt. And again, that's where great teachers, great friends, colleagues, nature, I had to turn to things that could give me ammunition against these voices in my head that were telling me to stop and go back. And you really need an army. You need a tribe. You cannot do it alone.
So the word that I've come up with to kind of encapsulate what we've been talking about, living your most authentic self and carving your own path and really listening to that inner yearning, I've made it into one word and I've called it your true face. So this is really today we're talking about living your true face and what amazing things come when you do. So I would love to end with the question, what does true face mean to you?
Well, when you told me this, I love this term because we live with masks a lot of the time and we don't allow ourselves to be seen. And, Brené Brown has done so much great work with this and vulnerability. And when we take the mask off and when we're authentic with ourselves and with another person, that's when we get the miracles of life. That's when we get the connection and the recognition. And so it really means, taking off the mask, not just in the presence of other people, but to ourselves. I know that, we've been taught to survive. And in order to do that, we had to put on different false selves. And, again, Martha and Boyd Varty, the wild animal tracker that you've studied with, I think do a great job at describing how when you first start to find your true face or seek your true face, it could be a little bit like a wild animal, and it can run and it can scurry and it can elude you, and it can be hard to determine, is that my true self or is that the voice in my head? And so again, to have teachers and discussions like this to help people find their way back to their true face. Because there really is no better joy than knowing who you really are and being able to share that with others, and then you can really receive from others from that place.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
This
Jen.
was so amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.